All right, everyone. This is the first podcast for Transcend. We are an iron only 10 HP EHP clan. We're relatively new. We've been out for about a month now. And so we finally decided we should start our first podcast. I do want to first lay down the foundation of what this podcast is going to encompass, and then we'll do an introduction. We'll talk a little bit more about ourselves just so that you get to know Maven and I, and then we will talk about Transcend, some things we've already accomplished, some things we want to do in the future, and hopefully answer some questions and some thoughts that were put in the suggestions thread in our Discord. So, a lot to cover, but we're going to try to do it pretty concisely. Obviously, it's just Maven and I today, and in the future, we will likely have a larger cast of different clan members. We anticipate for sure having a variety of different perspectives. That's the fun part about 10 HP Iron is we've got a lot of different builds and different different ways to play the game. And there's actually quite a few of us, and our clan continues to grow. So I'll just start with that. That's the foundation of this podcast. That's kind of what we're planning for. In the future, we'll have hopefully longer podcasts and more people in the podcast. So that'll be exciting, but wanted to get something out because it's about time, right, Maven?
Yeah, I mean, shit.
It
We've
took
been
us a month of
with
starting the clan.
with family, with relatives, with girlfriends. We've been trying to do this for the past month, and something has always come up. So
Yeah,
let's hit it running.
we just like to play in game and talk in Discord instead of recording. We probably have multiple podcasts at this point for just all of our conversations we've had in Discord, but yeah, it's good to finally get something out, and we wanted to do it. We really are new as a clan. So first we'll talk about us. I'll introduce myself first. I'm UIM. That's what space is in between. You can call me that. You can call me Bag. Some people may know me as that, though that's a former life and a former UIM. And yeah, I've been playing the game for a long time. I've been playing since pre-EOC. Actually was, I think, the first 50 to register a RuneScape account. Some kids in elementary school told me about it at lunch, and then I went home and actually played the game and got hooked. And then I quit in 2008, like right after Summoning came out and people were starting to level. I didn't like where that was going, and I quit at the perfect time, fortunately. And then I've been playing old school for, I guess is it the 10-year anniversary this year? I've been playing old school for a long time. So I've played a bunch of different builds. I've played skillers, pures. I've played mains. I've played normal. I've played iron. I've tried a lot of different things and played a lot of different accounts. Too many, to be honest. But I have learned a lot from all of that, and now I currently play a Ultimate Iron Man level 3. What about you? Who are
Yeah,
you,
so my
Maven?
my name is Maven. Fun fact about my name, it actually stems from something called Apache Maven, which is a automation tool used for Java projects. So that kind of hints at what I do in my free time. I am a software engineer slash gamer. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I am an Iron Man, specifically more of an OSAT, which is kind of a snowflake build, I guess some people call it. I just like giving myself pain, and that's what makes me consistent.
Yeah, to be honest though, and this is maybe a good point about you, maybe you can speak on this, is the reality is with OSAT, you're only able to do 199 at a time. And like that does sound like snowflakey and painful, but have there been things on this account that you've done that you're proud of that maybe you have never done before on any other build or like on normal skillers or anything like that?
All the skills I've done, I mean, it kind of comes back to the mode we're playing on. The mode we're playing on is Iron Man, and that's what our clan is revolved around. So when you look at an Iron Man and what skills are deemed not or deemed essential for an Iron Man, I'm achieving all the skills I've never done before because in order to progress my account, that's what I have to start with.
Mm.
I'm on up and coming on my fourth 99 and about 620k XP. I've done mining, smithing, agility, and almost thieving now. So to say what I'm proud of is all the stuff I've done so far because I've never done it before.
Yeah, you never had gotten 99 mining or 99 agility on a regular level 3, right? On a normal level 3?
on any account.
Oh, on
I
any
mean,
account. Dang. Yeah.
the
Iron will
highest
do that.
the highest mining level I've ever had was 72, and the highest agility level I've ever had was, I believe, 75, and I think thieving was 73. So I've pretty much passed my old account.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, there's something about Iron Man mode, just from my own experience of having done quite a few of them at this point, to be fair. Though I will say the one I'm on is for sure the one I'm going to play forever. But there's a lot of things that you would prioritize in a normal account because you can get it done really quickly because you've got GE and all of that. You know, buy some bonds with mom's credit card and get going on your gaming stats. But there's something about Iron Man mode that's really fun in the sense that it pushes you to do things that you know you should do. But do you think that it's just Iron Man mode, or do you think there's also something there regarding like OSAT? Has OSAT pushed you kind of further and to get those things done?
I don't know if it's whether OSAT or not. I think it's just Iron Man mode in general. When you start an Iron Man account, it kind of depends on what play style you're going to adventure on. And so, depending on what you're trying to achieve with the count, it kind of creates from that get go, kind of creates the path you're going to take. So, me being a skiller, it's like, okay, there are some skills that are deemed essential for the growth of my account. But then me being an OSAT, it's like, okay, I got to take that a step further because for me to start skilling, I have to focus on one skill until it's 99 before I can adventure into any other skill. So if I want to do, let's say, farming, I got to do agility, then thieving, then farming. Because you want to be able to have certain things like the rogue's outfit, but you need agility and thieving for the rogue's outfit. So for things to happen and to actually play your account, you have to prioritize certain things.
Yeah, and that's definitely like a self-imposed restriction, but there's something pretty fun about self-imposed restrictions. I mean, from my perspective as a UIM, it's one of the first things that people typically say is they either think your account's really cool and they say, "Wow, it's a crazy account," or they say something like you're like give you some kind of insult for it or something. But the thing is, like these self-imposed restrictions are a play style, and there's a lot of fun and variety there, and there's a ton of variety between 10 HP because it could be like a prayer pure or magic range pure. It could be like 10 HP with like every stat or one def. And but as a UIM, I think that having no bank is something that I think is a lot of fun and makes me play the game differently, as well as no GE and tradability, and honestly, no combat even. That makes it actually more enjoying and interesting than just like a standard account. I start, go to the GE, buy everything for 99 and just start doing it. So, no, that's cool to hear because I think that I've seen personally your progress on your account in more of your short term goals and seeing you finish those and some of your longer term goals and accomplishing like 99 mining for the first time, 99 agility for the first time. It kind of speaks to the fact that like Iron Man mode and then also being a level 3 and also being an OSAT has actually brought out the best of your account in comparison to accounts that you played in the past, even though you've gotten lots of 99s. But yeah, that's a good point. I think I want to talk to real quickly just who I am. I've been playing this game a long time. I've been playing old school since launch. I was like the first 50 to 60 people to create a RuneScape account. And then I quit in 2008, mostly PKing. And then I was also in, Peaceful back as a skiller. And I had like 50 mil. Actually, I think it was like 45 mil farm making XP from Willow logs. So that was my first skiller. And then it was I Bleed Fire. And then since then, I've been really enjoying skillers, and I played a lot of pures and other things when old school first launched because that was kind of the most hype around it for me. But since then, I've been playing different skiller accounts and a lot of different accounts. Currently, I'm working on kind of a similar thing. I do like doing 199 at a time. I'm trying to focus more on efficiency, but I also am trying to do like efficient things on my account, even though I'm not necessarily the most efficient player and I don't always play efficiently. I think it's kind of more fun. So I've been doing that. Some of my short term goals are like just get through and get more combat stuff done with poison dynamite. I'm trying to unlock and kill this dragon and get the dragon bone. So I have like unlimited cave nightshade and then unlimited poison dynamite. Some of the long term goals I've got is just to continue getting multiple 99s. Debating what the next 99 is going to be right now. I thought it was going to be agility. I'm kind of pushing around the idea of, since I've got so much footage and clips and I need to get another video out, probably 99 fire making. But what are some of your short term goals right now, and maybe long term goals too?
That's always the ever changing, constantly changing question because, like I said earlier, for the snowflakey account that I have, it, there's so many different things I can do. So right now, it's like, okay, I want to get to Fossil Island because herb lore for me is going to be a 2 to 3 year grind depending on how much I play. So for me to get to Fossil Island, I have the mining, I have the agility, and I have the thieving for, I believe it is the dig site quest. But then I have Herblore, and Herblore is the last skill I really need to get to Fossil Island. However, being a skiller, it's like, okay, I need to do Druidic Ritual. And for me to complete Druidic Ritual, I gotta kill a rat and a bear. But it's okay, I don't want any combat XP, how am I gonna do this? So there's two methods I can go about to get to Fossil Island. It's either I go down the path of having crafting, get 99 crafting, and then I can use the stall method to kill the bear and the rat, or I can get wood cutting and fire making. That way I can do poison dynamite. However, I also need farming for that. So theoretically, for me to get to Fossil Island, it's either wood cutting, fire making, farming, and then Fossil Island. But also, here's the thing, on Fossil Island, you have birdhouses. What do birdhouses require? Crafting and wood cutting. So, practically, I need fire making, wood cutting, farming, crafting, hunter, and then I can go to Fossil Island.
Nice. And then it brings up a good question, because one thing about our clan, and we can talk a little bit more about how long we've known each other and all of that, but one of the big things that we kind of synced at first on was we would do a lot of like theory crafting and just trying to figure out what was the best path for our builds. And also with all the new metas, like different things like Ring of Elements change things. And so, an old guide might be there, but it's not as necessarily effective. Or for example, some of the things that I know R was able to do as an OSAT UAM aren't really possible now because the melee spawn method doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, it brings up a good question, which is like, are you going to be level 3 forever? Or are you going to stay 10 HP? Like, what is your long term, like, if you could have the ideal account end game, maybe not necessarily unlimited time, but like if you could have your account be at the final stage, what do you want it to be?
It all kind of depends because Jagex just announced back in December for their winter event, they announced another skill. So I'll get to that in a second. So before that event happened, my long-term goal on this account was being one of the only Iron Men to have 2K total on a level or be on a 2K total world under 60 combat, because previously there was a guy by the name of Larry, Larie, and he recently just maxed his account 4.6 bill XP. But I initially saw his account, and his account was 60 combat on a 2K total world. And I've nailed it down to being 58 combat on a 2K total world. So long term, that is my original goal. However, there's still some contradiction onto what skill is actually going to be introduced into the game. So I'm trying to figure out what skill is going to be introduced, because then I might be able to even lower 2K my 2K total goal in terms
Hmm.
of combat level.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's super cool because I think it also kind of represents the fact that like when we first talked, it wasn't like we were both just playing the exact same game mode, the exact same kind of build, the exact same kind of gameplay, and even like the long-term goals being the same, being the fact that I knew you were going to go for like a high total. and that you really were most likely going to be a 10 HP iron or hardcore iron or regular iron at the time, and not just like a level 3. And I think that's like something that's been pretty cool is just seeing you hit your short and midterm goals and hitting 99s. And I think that what's fun is you've also seen me hit a couple of 99s, and we've had those conversations. We've built spreadsheets. We've basically laid out a lot of our accounts, but yet something like a new skill could change a bunch of things. What do you think about, I guess, before we go into kind of talking about Transcend and why we started in its ethos and kind of what we've done thus far and why we even, like, what's the point? Um, First, like, what do you think about the new skill? Are you for a new skill? Are you against a new skill? Like, what's your MO on that?
I'm 50-50 because it could either affect what I'm going to do or not at all. I mean, the bigger question is I'm for it. I'm not against it. Actually, I'm not. I'm more neutral. I'm okay with getting a new skill. I'm also being fine without getting a new skill.
Yeah.
But the bigger question is for the majority of the community that's already maxed, what are they going to do to cover having or introducing a new skill and not affecting people's ranks or max capes or anything like that? That's the bigger question.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it sounds like you're more neutral about it, but you're also like cognizant of the annoyance that it could create, and hopefully Jagex is aware of that. I think they are. They seem to be really open to like discussion about it, but sometimes they get set on something they want to do and they put people on it and then they want to go all the way. So I'm a little nervous about it. Personally, I don't really want a new skill in the game. I do like that there's a lot of new gameplay that they've added over the years. Like even MLM was something new originally. And that's like such a staple of the game and has been for multiple years. And then there are things that are newer, like Herbivore, that some people might not be happy that it's in the game, and other people really like it and enjoy it and have gotten high KC. So I like farming contracts. I like a lot of the different things that they've added over time, but I don't think that necessarily having a whole new skill is necessary to make the game better. And I think that people would rather than be focusing on like quality of life and improvements and new things that they could do that are fun for gameplay but aren't necessarily wrapped up into a skill. So I think I voted on it. Like I can't remember if I voted for utility or for gatherer. I definitely think that gatherer, utility, and production are, it could go a number of ways. I was an early artisan person. I didn't like how artisan was being demonstrated the first time, and that ended up being pretty much all that content I think they used for Fossil Island. But I definitely like artisan because I kind of feel like it's the missing slayer to skilling, and skilling is a big part of old school RuneScape. But I know a lot of people probably can't imagine that being like exploration and sailing. I feel like you could do a bunch of stuff with artisan and have like some cool unique content, but it might change up skilling so much that it disrupts a lot. So I'd rather there not be anything. And then if they were going to do a gatherer, it has to be something cool and it has to be something that feels natural. And I don't even really know what could fit that spot. I definitely wasn't a fan of warding. I thought that that was pretty silly. And then, I do like some production skills like rune crafting, which is a really weird thing to say as a production skill. So I hope that they don't introduce a new skill, but if they do, I'm probably going to be voting for artisan and some kind of flavor of that because I think that it could be good. All right, so let's jump into just discussing a little bit more, I guess, about Transcend. I guess I can go first and then I can ask you some questions too and what you think about it. But I've been wanting to start a clan for a while, probably since I started my first UAM level 3 and got pretty far on it. I've been a part of clans in old school for a long time, so I was in peaceful pre-EOC. When I came back to old school, I was in a couple of like pure clans, and then I got into a skilling clan, and I was in peaceful again. Eventually started a clan called like Leverage, which was people off of peaceful. That was a lot of fun. And then eventually I joined Z Skillers. I was in, I think, Recognition, and then I also was in Nova Skillers for a while. Was in Improvement for a bit, and then more recently was in District 3. And so I definitely know a lot of people from different parts of the community that are in 10 HP community that aren't necessarily Iron, and also have been around since like the beginning of watching like Iron level 3s and Iron 10 HP accounts kind of progress. And so I've been wanting to start a clan for a long time, just the time to do it and when to do it and what to do. And I've been wanting it to be an Iron clan for a long time, but there wasn't really that many Iron players in the beginning. It was definitely more Snowflake and niche. But what makes you excited about starting Transcend? Like what before we launched this month made you want to be a part of like an Iron 10 HP clan?
I think it was solely the fact that if you look at all the clans that are out there revolving irons, there's nothing centered around skillers. I think the next iron clan out there that we know of is, I think it's Olympus.
Yeah.
So to have a clan that's centered around the skiller game mode and have it be an iron only clan, I think was the primary focus for me. I wanted to surround myself with people that play the same mode as you or I.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because the thing is, like, I've got friends in these other clans, right? I've got friends that are in Z Skillers. I've got friends that are in District 3, at least in game friends, and also some people that I've talked to a lot in Discord and stuff. Same with Improvement. And, you know, these are good clans. And then you look at the broader skilling community, like, you have these really crazy clans that are super cool. Maybe there's like some elite level 3s or 10 HPs that are in those. They've been playing the same account for a long time. They're really far into their account. They're pretty committed, and those clans are like Solus, Omnia, or Hexus is a long one. I used to watch a lot of Hexus podcasts. And so they've been around a long time, but they're like really high end game clans that maybe aren't always the most friendly for newer players and whatnot. But I think with the Iron game mode, there's so many different little things that you don't know when you first start. And it is helpful to have people around that have been traverse that or have some game knowledge. And then, like you said, people that'll push themselves because they're all gathering together. And I definitely think that being like Olympus is a good goal to have, but especially for like the skiller community or 10 HP community. So I definitely can see how you want to be a part of it for that reason. Do you think that like it's more doable now because there's more irons, or do you think that it was, why wasn't this really something that existed before? That being like a clan, like straight up Transcend.
I don't think there was really necessarily a need for it before or a
Mm,
want for it before because people are like, why would I go join a clan that's just starting out and when I can go join, something that's already existing? But
yeah.
it kind of just goes back. It's so silly, but it goes back to what my parents would say, and I'm sure your parents would say, like surround yourself with people like you want to be influenced by. Something as stupid and something as silly as that was, you know, kind of for me the core foundation of why I wanted to start this.
Yeah, there's something about like, and even just in my past, hanging out and playing with people and having a lot of fun while also accomplishing goals is like being in a clan is a big part of that. And there's like a social element, there's an actual progress of your account element, there's also like a welcomeness. You can get into a clan that's like really good, but it's not even fun to hang out in. Not because it's just dead silent in the chat because people are gaming, but people just maybe aren't really interested in socializing at all in Discord or something versus like, hey, I want to hang out and I want to game, but I want to jump into Discord and talk with other people who are playing too to make time go by or, just have fun. But yeah, being around other people that are irons. I think the cool part about Transcend is that's kind of how it felt. It felt like the clan that should exist. When I was thinking about like what the name should be and what would the clan be about, obviously we had already been playing our accounts and talking, about a lot of different things, but a big part of it for me was just like this is a clan that should exist. Like there should be an iron only 10 HP clan. And this should be a place where somebody who's a UIM that wants to go for 99 Slayer with cannon can be a member and can do PVM with 10 HP. And then it should also be a place where like somebody who just wants to AFK like a hardcore at MLM for 200 mil mining could be. And I think that before the clans that were available, there wasn't that many irons you'd see. There was a few here and there, but it was a lot smaller of a community. And now there's a lot of different people who maybe they played a normal level 3 or they played some other build and they've watched and now they've jumped in and started an alt that's now their main account, or they're playing it on the side and they've really come to love the mode that they're playing and like the play style of it. So a lot of people just don't know how good it is until they jump in. And instead of just creating another 10 HP skilling clan, which there's already a couple of them and they're decent enough to join, creating like a special place for people who want to push themselves and talk about theory crafting and, you know, those irons not just going off again in a normal chat where a lot of people probably couldn't relate to a lot of the conversation that's happening. Um, but our ethos, ultimately, like, what is Transcend? We're just an ultimate hardcore and regular Iron Man level 3 and 10 HP EHP skilling clan. We're focused on socially being friendly and just having growth in skilling and PVM. So whatever that looks like for 10 HPs, you're going to have more PVM focus probably, and also different skilling methods, and then level 3s. But what's that term EHP mean? Why EHP? That's what everybody wants to know. Why not total level? What are your thoughts on that, Maven? I can say mine after you.
Why do we base things off EHP?
Mm-hmm.
Efficiency hours played is the term for it. I don't know who founded that or who decided that was the actual thing. It and it has the weird thing about EHP is it has really no correlation to actual hours played, because I can play 5 hours total in a given day, but I might not get 5 hours of EHP. But we chose EHP because it aligns to, you know, how consistent you are, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because in order to have 100 EHP versus like 500 total or 750 total, let's just say, we can go ahead and bust out 750 total in a given day. That's not hard to do by any means. But to bust out 100 hours, you know, to get 1 to 1, like to get 1 EHP for 1 hour of gameplay, that's very hard to do. There's not a lot of skills that you could do early on as
Mm-hmm.
a entry level Iron Man. So to go with EHP, it just shows us that you're dedicated to doing what you essentially signed up to do.
Yeah, like, and you know, I think that that's, I've been in a lot of different clans, and a lot of them will typically have like an option of a total level, a total XP, or an EHP, or they might have like some kind of combo of, you know, total level and EXP, or total level and EHP. And I think the reason why EHP works best is because, let's just put it this way, there's a lot of different types of builds. And so, what does an efficient hour even look like? Well, it's going to look entirely different for somebody who's a 10 HP peer doing barb fishing than like a level 3, you know, doing aerial. So I think that it's really a good measurement, like you said, for consistency. Because over time, if you're really actually playing your account, you might not be getting a really high EHP because you might do something like farming and not get really that much EHP for it. But it is going to show that you're progressing every week. So even if it's a small amount, like you're on a 16-hour EHP week, it's still showing the fact that you're like making pretty decent gains playing the game. And if you're an iron build of some kind, you're likely going to get, you know, iron EHP, so you're going to get some EHP versus just like a total level, like you said, where you can kind of whip that out quickly. Another thing too is like it doesn't really cater to have total level for certain builds, like for example OSAT, because, well, if you can only get like 199 at a time and you can't get that rank till you're like a certain total, well, maybe you go up total XP, but then it's like, well, how come my rank for, you know, 499 is equal to somebody's couple of weeks bashing out total level? And so I think it's a little bit more of a fair balance. There's also the aspect of like, what if they're free to play? What if they're hardcore? What if they're UIM? And all those different things change the rates of what is the best in slot method. So you're definitely right. Like EHP isn't perfect. It's got a lot of problems, but I do think it's a little bit of a straight indicator. And then also us being an iron, it means more. because I think in non-Iron Man environments, EHP is a lot easier to obtain 1-to-1. And also you can do a lot of things like just buy materials and just start getting hours input for getting a like really high XP. But on Iron, it's a more steady, I guess you could say linear progression that you're going to continually invest in your account. You're going to continually see hours go up, and eventually you're going to hit, a point where you can kind of see how you're ranked in comparison to other irons, um, without just going off of total XP or total level. So definitely doesn't mean that you can't do total level or anything. We do have an entry rank. I think this is something that I wanted to bring up as well. Kind of a tangent, but the reality is that like not everybody knows what EHP is, and a lot of people have like a really bad stereotype of EHP. Maybe some people even have like pretty bad perspectives of like the higher level community players, like the higher level skilling community, even just the term EHP, even Temple or even Crystal Math Labs. Like they just don't have I think they don't like it. They just want to focus on collection log stuff, or they just want to jump on and play and have fun and socialize. And so they think this EHP term is like a negative thing. But what do you think about that? Do you think there's like a benefit to having an entry level? We have like not a like a true rank, but we've got a clan rank where somebody can come in with 0 EHP. Like, what's the benefit of that?
The benefit of that is to really just allow them to gain exposure. It's the simple way to put it, to have a welcoming rank saying, hey, we're not going to say no to you just because you don't have the requirements. Like, here you go. It's almost like in some clans when they have, their trial. Oh, you cannot get your rank until you have, 3 weeks in the clan and a certain requirement. This is essentially our trial rank for anyone that wants to join, see what we're about, see if it's a good fit for them before they decide to, level up and rank up in our clan.
Yeah, and we've got like really good examples of that where we've got somebody like Neuron Memory who started a brand new UIM and basically started off at the first rank. He's a part of the clans who can see clan messages. He's a part of Transcend, but he's popped off and did 99 agility just recently. And it's like, I don't really want to ever turn away people. And this is kind of some of the issues I have with it. It makes more sense in higher level skilling communities, like let's say Solus, to not let everybody into the clan, right? Because at that point, there's probably a lot of people and they really want to be like that top tier. But I think an environment like this, where we still want there to be like a fun social aspect, and you can also grow and become a better player without necessarily being in that exact position. Like it really should be a case by case thing, right? Everybody's different. Everybody has different goals. Like what's great for you might be great for you and not for me. But we should have like an environment where people can just be pushing and growing themselves no matter what. And bringing them in as an entry point, I kind of think of it like it goes back to the whole model of like not really mentor and mentee, but like journeyman and apprentice. It really doesn't make sense to have a clan then be like a journeyman or a master of your build and not really like invite and teach people and not really give back. It doesn't really make you that impressive, if you will. But like if you raise up like legit acolytes and then they all progress and then they go out and do the same thing and then they become journeymen, it's way more impressive and actually really cool anyway. So I think it's super cool to see that we have that. We decided to go with that from the get-go. That's something I hadn't seen with other clans, is we had like basically create an iron account, make it 10 HP, and you can basically join the clan. We don't include you in the temple group until you have reached the recruit rank, which is 100 EHP. And that can't be done like in one day. So it definitely allows for like them to be consistent, see what they're interested in, and see how long they're gonna stick to their account. And yeah, like everything you said there. So I guess a good question is, what does the clan stand against, amidst other 10 HP clans out there? Like, why? Let's just put yourself in the perspective of shoes of like you're starting your account over again, which I don't want to ever do again. But let's say you did. You've got all these other options that it's like 10 HP. So why would you join Transcend? What's the reasoning?
It's like I said earlier, you want to surround yourself with people that are playing similar modes to you, which will ultimately, increase your want and desire to achieve something. I might see a build in our clan or just someone that has achieved a boss pet as a level 3 via poison dynamite. And I think having that aspect of only seeing achievements and unlocks done by a iron UIM or a hardcore will ultimately increase my want to do something similar like that.
Yeah, it's super true because I think that the main thing about joining other 10 HP clans is, well, one, you can be whatever you want to be, versus Transcend is iron only. So there's kind of some camaraderie already, and yet there's still enough variety within iron that there's definitely like different things and different play styles you'll see. Even in our clan, we've got like 10 HP irons, 10 HP UIMs already. We've got level 3 skill pures. We even have a UIM hit points pure. And yes, we are allowing hit HP pures. I think that, we're probably not going to allow like defense pures unless they're 10 HP. But for the most part, just having like a bunch of different builds that are still with an iron, it's very different to play with other irons than it is to just play with normal accounts. I think there's a difference there in terms of growth and learning different aspects of things. Plus, it's just kind of cool. I think that we are playing our accounts like without trading and with different imposed restrictions, but we're all playing it together. And so we're still socializing and there isn't like a loss in comparison to other 10 HP clans. Another thing is, though non-irons can't join the clan, they can join the Discord and be in voice and stuff. So it's not like there's a barrier for having people play games together, especially if they're like in other clans. But from a perspective of, well, in game, you can also just be like a standard iron and get a beast combat rank. It's the only rank we have for non 10 HP. And as long as you're an iron, you can hang out. So I don't know, it's just focused around that particular community. I think that other communities are fun. I do think that we've enjoyed those communities as well. But I've already noticed like our little corner in Gillinor has been, even in just 1 month, really cool to see. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that real briefly, and then maybe we'll talk about some other relevant stuff. But what we've done this month, since we've basically been out for a month, is we have a Discord. We have pretty much everything set up. There's still some improvements to make, like adding a music bot and some automatic roll stuff, but we've had applications and gone through the whole process, and we've got our rank information, and people can join through our Twitter. We've got a Twitter account. We've got a Twitch account. Like, we've got a lot of stuff set up. We've got a clan icon or logo, you could say. We've got some artwork done by a legend. I think he's the guy who also 100% did Omnia's initial like banner. He doesn't do artwork for people anymore, and he's like my favorite digital artist in the RuneScape community. So really cool to have him do our banner. And I know he still has some improvements. He wants to kind of get even to a higher fidelity, but we definitely have a really cool artwork, and that's something I've heard people say right away. It's like it's very distinct. We also have a temple account, a group temple, and we add anybody who's recruiter above. We just recently passed a couple of the other 10 HP clans, so maybe you are interested in like the average EHP. I don't know how much that'd speak to you, but we have superseded like Improvement and District 3 and Z-Skillers in average EHP. However, we do have a lot less players, so some of that EHP has been influenced. We also have a lot of really good players already. So that's something that has been really cool to see us kind of start at the bottom and our average EHP grow as people have been joining. We've continued to get new members like pretty regularly. We also have talked about how we want to do podcasts. We've got some ideas for group activities and competitions on the horizon. Maybe we can talk about that a little more, like stuff you'd like to see, maybe. And I know I've got some ideas for sure. And then, more stuff there. What are some ideas of like group activities and comps you think would be cool to do?
Cool things we could do comp wise, obviously folklore year of 2023 having just a year long event, but since we started after the year actually started, we can't necessarily quite do that, but we can do, you know, different things like month to month skill comps, not necessarily focused on a particular skill, but just any given month. We could do quarters, doing a skill or a comp for a certain amount of time, 3 months at a time. We could do comps based around certain skills. We could do comps based off of total XP for a given month, or just EHP for that given month, or skill. So there's so many different options and a plethora of ideas we can have.
Yeah, like I think of all sorts of fun stuff. Like if Easter's coming, we could do like an Easter activity that's very social, like some stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be stuff that isn't just comps we could do, like activities in general, like giveaways, hide and seeks, um, different things like that that could be fun. But I think comps is going to be a big allurement because one thing that I want to do, since we're an iron only community and the EHP for 10 HP isn't all that accurate, is to basically have our own EHP comps, and we can base the EHP in determining what the rates are for the best in slot for each individual build. So like it could be an EHP comp that's, let's say, a week, or a short sprint of a few days, or it could be even just what we'd like to do, like a longer period of time, and those could be bigger rewards. But overall, like there could be a pool that's thrown together for bond money or whatever, or some kind of special rank, or some kind of cool trophy to show like a winner for those things. And I guess we could talk about the website in a little bit, but I do think we can do some really cool stuff with that because, for example, maybe Temple EHP isn't actually correct. Like let's say Temple says, oh, the best thing you can get is 50k XP per hour. And so somebody's actually able in their build to get like 80k XP per hour. Well, then we should be giving them the accurate EHP for the 80, not the 50, and then vice versa, right? So they should be actually getting EHP if their build is, let's say, like a free-to-play UIM. Well, we should probably be giving them the correct rates for that. So we can actually determine those rates, figure them all out, and then we could even present them at some point as kind of matter of fact for the Iron 10 HP community. So that's something cool to see. I could imagine like there's stuff that I don't even know, like what's the EHP for 10 HP Iron Man Slayer? I have no clue, So there'll probably be some pretty interesting things that we'll have to figure out. But I think skilling comps, certain skills we could do. It'd be actually hilarious to imagine a Herblore only comp. It's like you could get 100k Herblore XP first or something like that. So there's lots of like fun, unique things we can do and we plan to do. I imagine that like a lot of what's going to be really cool for our clan is as we get larger, having more people in Discord playing, because that's something that's really fun, is just being able to like jump on, play the game, and hang out with folks in Discord. So that's something that I'm hoping to see more, like social events that'll involve the Discord, so people have a reason to jump in and talk and hang out and stuff whenever they're playing. It just makes time go by faster. It's more fun that way. And yeah, you can develop like in-game friendships and stuff as well. All right. I guess we've been going for a little while now. We probably should talk about kind of what the future holds. Like I said, we've done quite a bit of stuff already to scaffold and get set up. And I'd say our clan is looking pretty darn good considering the first month, and I'm not going anywhere. I don't know about you, man. I don't think you are, but I don't think either of us are going anywhere anytime soon. And we still have some plans. I mentioned a website earlier. We've talked about it. We've looked up and thought about different things we could do for a really cool website with the Temple data. Since we're both software engineers, we can build some really cool tools and honestly like basic stuff that could be really cool for our site, like showing Temple data for our group, really cool. And we already like know the technologies we could use to build that. We've already built the Discord bot that needs to be updated, but eventually it'll allow us to not only do what we're doing now, which is like get the EHP and stuff like that, but rank players automatically based on those things. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about that. From a clan perspective, I'm really actually very excited about our clan, and every single time I log on, I'm excited just because I know like there'll likely be somebody on. And even during like the pretty quiet hours, we have like a variety of people from different locations. So it seems like I've never logged on since like the first few days of our clan, I think, to like nobody online. And that's been pretty crazy. I don't know about you, but has that been the case for you? We're both in California, right? I'm NorCal, you're SoCal.
I think I've encountered it once, but that's only because I was up at 3 a.m. my time.
Oh yeah.
So, so, but just in general times, let's just speak
Recently, or was that like earlier when we first
uh,
started?
much earlier. But
Hmm.
now, even, when I get on my computer for work, work on one side of the screen, RuneScape on the other side of the screen, maybe as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, there's people on. There's people on as late as 11 p.m. So
Yeah.
there's always someone on.
It's been pretty crazy. Like that was one thing that I think that I had like the biggest fear about is like it's really hard to start a new clan. And I mean, you really hope like the reason I wanted to start this clan is because I want to see the Iron community come together. Like I want to see the 10 HP Iron community come together and have a lot of fun. And that's something that like is kind of a plague. It's like a really difficult thing to deal with. It was something with like, for example, Jet Engine that I really enjoyed, had an issue with, which is like I'd log on and there'd be basically nobody on. And so it's even harder now because you don't just join like an FC, you join like an actual clan, right? So I think it's been really cool to see like that not be an issue. I mean, there'll sometimes be maybe only 3 to 4 people on, but for the most part, there's quite a few people that guest in our clan, and then there's definitely people on almost every time I hop on, like somebody's playing. So it's been really cool to see that. I guess another thought is, how do you feel about poll 78? I had to drop that because that is pretty relevant to our community. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna have to pull that up because there are so many different things on that are
Yeah, there's some stuff that benefits you too,
important.
right? That I think there's some stuff that benefits you, and there's some stuff that benefits both of us, and then there's stuff that just benefits me right now.
All
Um,
right, so let's look at the poll that is known as New Skill Community Consultation and Poll 78. All right, so I'm going to skip over to the things that are more tailored to our build and our play style. So, question number 12. Should we reduce the spawn timers of the veins found on the lower floor of Motherlode Mine? What do you think on that?
so I think that's good. I think the nice part is they didn't do the higher. But here's the thing, bro. I think MLM is one of those things where you're already trying to chill and you're okay with like dirt rates. And if that's the case, then I don't see why it shouldn't just be longer veins for bottom and top floor, anyways. Because yes, it stinks for lower floor, but like, why create unnecessary conflict and skilling resources between two people who are just trying to chill? Like, there's something about like when you're at MLM AFK, maybe watching some shows or whatever, and then you're just talking to somebody or something, and if there's no like resources you're competing over, you could actually develop like a conversation. But if there's like resources that you're competing over, it could be like a random, like there's no point in having the conflict. As long as it takes the same amount of time or like the XP rates aren't skyrocketed for the difference, why the heck not? You know, it's why I like agility, because you can both jump on the same course and nobody's like, oh, I'm waiting to jump down from Artie because somebody else is in front of me. So I definitely think that it's cool to see. I do think it makes MLM easier. I might actually be swapping the clan account to a new hardcore that I'm just gonna camp and see what it's like. Just have it always on, just AFKing like MLM because of that change. So
Absolutely. Let's skip over to another question
yeah, let's do
that's
it.
pretty influential
All right.
or pretty impactful. Question 17. Should we allow magpie implinks to drop rings of recoil?
Oh man, this has been one that's been fought for a long time, and we finally won, boys. Like that is crazy. I definitely have been fighting for recoils in a legitimate method for like 4 years. I'm one of the few people that has actually done the feud as a UM level 3 with recoils. Like there's probably like a handful of like 4 to 5 people who could say that. So I know how hard it is to actually do those types of things because I've actually done them. I'm not just like ethereally talking about it. But recoils being added to iron is awesome. It just gives more quest capacity. It gives more like excitement over certain things. And then it also is like useful for like money making methods, for example, for bloods through the feud and stuff. So I've been really wanting it for a long time, and it's something that I think has been on the backlog for a long time. Even Mod Ash like responded to a tweet, I think from Keyboard or from myself, like 4 or 5 years ago, and he's like, "That sounds like a great idea." And it's finally coming to fruition. It's kind of like the whole no strength XP at the Puro Puro. It's like something that they're like, yeah, that sounds great, like that sounds awesome, but they just haven't done it for like years. Um, and during that entire time, people have used scripts, like 100% used scripts to get recoils once certain methods are patched. And some of those accounts are banned. But yeah, like to get it officially is super cool because now, it isn't like people who are willing to bug abuse to get some cool, unique items. It's people who are willing to put in the work to get it. So recoils are going to be sick. I'm super happy it passed and it was like over 80%. So it was clear like a lot of people were really supportive of it. It's more so like, why didn't they just do this like 4 years ago when people were asking for it? Especially for iron, since we can't just buy them from the GE.
Absolutely. Here's another impactful one. Should we create a stackable, untradeable version of Cave Nightshade exclusively available from farming?
You know my answer to that one. It's funny because when I have like when people will say, "Oh, you play a UIM," and I'll talk with them in game or something, like, "Oh, I can't do it. I like to collect stuff." I'm like, "You realize I like to collect stacks too. I just like to collect them in a looting bag or like in one isolated location or in my POH." But no, I think it's super powerful because it's necessary because of the changes to add in poison dynamite. And I think poison dynamite, it takes 5 hours just to grow like some poison dynamite. And right now the yield's pretty low. I think that poll also says they're going to increase the yield based on your farming level or something, which is really cool because it's pretty bad right now. Like there was moments where I'd wait 5 hours and I'd just get one poison dynamite out of it. And that's pretty bad. Plus you're really, it's kind of gate kept. Like you can't note the item, but it's a farmable item. And the reason why, when I talked to Ash about this, was he said it's an engine thing because things that are untradeable aren't able to be noted in that way. And then it's specifically, even though it's a farming item, that's kind of how the code registers it. But I know it's something that they could have done, and it's finally coming to fruition that they're actually doing it. I think that the farmable item of it is cool because they're separating it from the obtainable one from the Skavid map location where you can just pick up Cave Nightshade. So it's kind of nice because you can just note it and build up a stock of it over time, and then just use it all at once. It is a decent method for Herblore at a higher end game level, so I think that's actually kind of cool. It's more of like a passive method though, so obviously there's better methods like just farming all your herbs and everything, but that could be like a little bit of a boost to herb that will be like nice, but not like so overpowering that, wow, they came up with like a whole new herblore thing and it ruins the game mode. So I'm in favor of it, and I've been dealing with it lately, trying to take out bosses and do combat on the UIM has been like, I've basically resulted to the cannon zero spawn method a couple of times because I just couldn't, I was too impatient, and it was obviously way faster. And then, I've been using the PD quite a bit on different things, and it's kind of hit or miss. Like the RNG on it takes forever, and most people who are doing it are not irons. So I think that's what I've noticed. Like most people using PD are normal level threes with like full, they've got like a Fury on, a regen brace. Like they're wearing all this gear, whether they're like a defense peer, etc., that's giving them like way more bonuses for that accuracy to actually hit. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm in favor for it. What about you?
Absolutely. I mean, if it's going to make things easier, if it's going to make things more accessible, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
There's only one patch in the game
yeah,
that
one patch.
you're able to gather these things from. So if you have to wait 5 hours just to get 3 poison dynamite, That's a little absurd.
Yeah, you know what's ridiculous about this? So the whole thing is I tested beta poison dynamite like every test. And the whole thing is like they never really like the test for it was just having unlimited dynamite in your bank and then just using it. And so it was good for like testing things for sure, giving them feedback, but it didn't test the whole process of what it takes to get it. And then there wasn't like a consideration for every single type of build. And the whole reason they did it was because removing that melee spawn affected builds. And they wanted to make sure that they like did those players justice, which I'm happy they did. But like when you actually factor in the thieving for the seed and then the planting in one patch and then the 5 hours and then you get 3 of them and you're like, yay, and then you put it to one dynamite and it you only get 1 out of 3. It's really, really slow. And then basically you would just want to unlock Skavid's map because that's like unlimited amounts, but you got to kill a dragon or get a dragon bone, or you have to and you have to kill Gorad, which is like level 63 or something, in order to unlock them. So it's not like an easy unlock for irons because you got to use the dynamite to get there. But yeah, I'm super happy that they're adding it.
Absolutely, me too.
How do you feel about the whole? And this is not on the poll. Actually, I guess you could talk about the poll more, and then I'll ask one more major drop.
As far as questions that actually impact us, that covers all the questions on the poll. All
Okay,
the other stuff is for non-skillers.
great. Okay, I think was there a benefit for wines for growing grapes or something too? I could have sworn there was something for farming grapes that could benefit irons. Maybe it wasn't.
Let's see.
Like something for.
Yes, but for Zamorak wines, should we increase the success rate of fermenting Zamorak wines to approximately 50% at level 65 cooking and 100% at level 98 cooking?
98. What a random level. That's funny. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That seems like it could kind of help like some success rate when you're making them, when you're taking your jugs and putting the grapes in them. But
But
yeah.
that only impacts Zamorak wines,
Oh, Zamorak. Oh, okay.
which is the secondary skill or secondary ingredient for ranging pots. Because right now, as is, you could start making wines at level 35, and I believe you stop failing regular wines at level 68. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not too big then. So that's really the big two, but I had to drop it in there. So we got like a lot of stuff to talk about. The skill, the new skill type stuff they're trying to push, then all these updates, and then the big one I have to bring up. What do you think about the whole 10 HP build thing that originally was pulled? It was announced at like I think the Winter Summit, like the official support of builds. They got like kind of backlash off of it. Most people didn't like it, and then they put it in the poll. It failed, I believe. And then now I think they posted something recently about trying to like take a different spin on it. What do you think about the whole like official builds thing? Are you for it? Are you against it? Like, what do you think?
It's one thing if something fails once, that just shows you that no one actually wants it or their initial, proposal is not a good idea. But it's another thing when they're like, "All right, we've come up with another proposal." It kind of makes me worried that it's something that's just going to be implemented
Mm-hmm.
that people don't want.
Right, right. Like, it's
Like
hard. It's hard. Yeah,
I'm
that's.
for the aspect of having a different part of the high scores for skillers
Mhm.
because they can add it for hardcore, they can add it for UIM, they can add it for Iron Man, they can add it for group hardcores, group Iron Man. It's no different. It's just another filter. It's like, okay, let's filter all the people that have level 1s and level 1 in combat and level 10 HP.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Easy enough to do, right?
Hmm.
But then it's another thing when they're trying to impose all these other things. It already failed the first time.
Yeah.
So
I
is
mean,
it,
that's a big problem like that I think I've noticed. And the thing is I've been following the J mods for years, right? So like I've seen the new people, the old people go, the new people come on board, the stuff they said couldn't ever be done, and the stuff they said would never be done, be done. And so I definitely, have confidence in the Jagex team, but I also like have I guess you could say some experience with them in terms of seeing how they actually roll things out. And this is the problem that Jagex always has, which is they'll come up with a lot of stuff and spend some effort to like try to show something and then present it because they want it to be like look good. They want it to be like exciting. They want to do all the artwork. They want to have like some of the ideas that their team has put together on it. They want to get feedback, and then they want to come up with something exciting to announce so that there's hype. And that's not a bad thing. But the problem is like they'll invest so much in it that once if the community says no, then they're like, well, we don't want you to actually tell us no. We really want to do this, and we've already invested in it. So how can we spin it? There's like a double-edged sword with the side of you want them to be like, oh, okay, well, you don't like that part. Well, what if we change this and we put this? Do you like that? That's a good thing. But then it's also with that same kind of thing, they can also keep trying to push something until everybody says, yeah, fine. But then it's not really, was never really wanted in the first place. I'm not a big fan of the whole like official 10 HP builds and the like pure and unpure kind of thing. I think that what the community really wanted in terms of level threes was Poison Dynamite. I think they would want Poison Dynamite to be even a little bit more accurate. I think that they wanted recoils for irons for level threes, which is now happening. And I think the other thing they wanted was the high scores, like you said, which we're both engineers. So we know, yeah, it's an engine thing, but we know it's literally like some filters and some data, and they can work it out. Like engineering teams build stuff like this all the time. And then lastly, the whole reality of like, we just wanted a fun weapon that you could hit something with and never get like hit a zero and never get combat XP and never actually do damage. And we had that with the little holiday item, and then somebody ruined that, and then they took it out, and then they talked about having it back in. But I think it's that type of support that the community actually wants. It's like quality of life support, not just come out with a whole mode and then make a bunch of things easier, you know? But I don't know. That's my opinion on it. Like, I see why they're doing it. I know they're doing a lot of work, and I'm actually super excited that they actually care and are acknowledging our community for like the first time. Truly, at least. They've been nice to let us have like Fossil Island, and they definitely like Winter Taught. It's been good for level threes, and they don't like hate our community for sure, but I do think that like they could have gone about it support for our particular community a little bit different. And then for like the peers and stuff, I don't really think that they've ever had support for that because they've put in polls before like a reverse XP lamp, and that was failed. They tried to like provide opportunities for mistakes when people make, and they won't do it. And although they say they can't change an account's skills, which I think is absolute BS for sure. Like somebody who got 2 prayer, they could go in there and turn that to 1. Like it's not impossible to do that. Like that data exists in a production database somewhere, and that number of that stat is at 2, they could turn it to a 1. But I think the reason that they say they can't is because they know that if they start doing it for one account, everyone will expect it. And all they'll get is a bunch of support tickets for people who accidentally got an attack level by hitting an attack dummy in Varrock. And so then they open the floodgates there. So I do think that, you play these restricted accounts and you play them because you want to play them and you restricted yourself. So you should definitely have like the skill cap that comes with it. But then I think there's an over the top where it's like, okay, well, yeah, POHs, they've gotten better over time. Like UIM has gotten more enjoyable, but also a little bit easier, but I think not too easy. I like the idea that I don't have to get like 64 con just to store every skilling outfit. That's like a nice quality of life for my POH. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's a little bit easier. Now I don't have to get 64 con like right away to just swap between skills. So recoils, for example, or like fun weapons or things like that, I think are cool little ways to support the community, or something that's there for one death peers. When's the last time they got something cool cosmetic like what's at Castle Wars, or something else they could wear? There's like that could show their rewards. I mean, the bounty hunter hats are okay, but like they could come up with some cool niche reward stuff that isn't like game breaking and just entertains those communities. They don't have to come up with like a entire it almost feels like the quest worlds, the speedrun worlds. Maybe if they put it on like a different place and said this is like a different like challenge mode type thing, maybe people would be more interested in it. But I think putting it in the main game is like, it's a little too late for it and it's a little bit weird. Support us in all the right ways, you know?
Absolutely.
So my thoughts on that. But I had to bring it up because I do know that that's like, it's hard, you know. We've got really good J mods. We've got like Mod Dylan, you know. We've got Mod Ash who always replies to like every tweet. He's literally a legend. And we've got people that are like actually in our corner and responding and stuff. And we've got like a pretty, our devs are pretty awesome. Like we've got some new devs. I can't forget what her name is, but the one who was put on Guardians of the Rift. I think her and Husky are the ones that are kind of taking on the new skill. I love Guardians of the Rift. I think that there's some weird things with the rewards, but like that was a really good implementation, and I think it's really fun. And I did it to literally 90 rune crafting, so I think they definitely have a lot of potential, but they need to tighten the ship a little bit.
Just a tad.
All right, man. Well, it's been about an hour. It's a longer podcast. Next time we'll have probably more people. We've got some people on our clan who are already interested. If you want to check out the clan, you can if you're an Iron. Another thing I wanted to mention is like if you're in another clan and you want to start an Iron 10 HP account, you're welcome to create that account and have that account be in our clan. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So like if you got a normie in another clan or something, or your main in another clan, I don't think you should feel like you have to be ranked only in our clan. So that's one thing I was thinking about, because who knows, maybe you got like a really good account in another clan and you feel like if you were to try to join our clan, you would lose your rank. But most alts aren't ranked. You know, most alts aren't ranked in the existing clans. So if you like have a normal level 3 and then you create a hardcore level 3, you're probably not going to get a rank for your hardcore 2, right? But you could in our clan. We've got some people who are have alts that are ranked in our clan too. So definitely feel free to check us out. You can join the Discord. You can find the link on the, I believe in our Twitter, or you can message me. My Discord is just UIM, all capital, hashtag 0001. Yeah, I'm the number 1 UIM in Discord. And then you can also check out our Twitter, twitter.com/transcendosrs. We also have a Twitch channel that we haven't used it yet. We'll probably use it for future podcasts, I guess, and clan events and stuff. And then we also have a YouTube as well that we don't have a custom URL yet, since I think you have to have a certain amount of subs. But that being said, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at MavenOSRS.
Bro, didn't you get like more tweets for your 2 thieving or something than for like 99 agility? I could have sworn there was something funny that happened on your Twitter account. Like,
yeah, so let's scroll down.
What was that?
On January 9th, I got 99 agility. I had 8,863 views and 81 likes. And then 2 thieving, I had 12.6 thousand views and 180 likes.
So you got more likes for 2 thieving than 99 agility?
Apparently that's more of an accomplishment.
That's so funny, dude. I guess as an
Yeah.
OSAT, it is like a big reveal. You're like, this is the next one I'm going to do. But I'm so proud of you for that too, by the way. You've literally done blackjacking. You're a gamer, dude. So many people bow out of that.
I think what actually happened was someone commented on my 2 thieving, bro, this is effing massive, congrats. And then someone that goes by the name of Syndicate on Twitter, or Tom, who goes by Syndicate, has 2 million followers, commented on that level 2 thieving tweet.
Oh, that's hilarious. That explains it. That's cool that he saw that, considering like how many people he probably like follows and whatnot. Yeah, it's that's hilarious, man. Well, you can find me also on Twitter. I am UIM_level LVL_3. And then I'm also on Twitch, UIM level 3, all one word. And then I'm always in Discord too, so you can always like message me in Discord. Definitely come check out the clan. I want to hang out in Discord more, but I feel like we either have like nights where there's like quite a few people, or it's like nobody's really in there. Maven and we usually just like Discord on our own, to be honest, unless somebody's in there, jumps in there. But yeah, just hit us up, follow. You can subscribe to this. We aren't going to post like tons and tons of content on here all the time, but we will on Twitter like post updates. We post 99s of clan members. We'll see how the like web app development stuff comes along, and we've got some cool ideas for that, for like special calcs and stuff for unique builds, and it'll be fun to see what happens in the future. But definitely check out Transcend. Like I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be playing UIM for a long time, and I've got a lot more videos to make, so hopefully you'll come and check us out. And to everybody who's joined Transcend, you guys are legit. I so appreciate all of you. It's been really cool to see people from different communities come and join, and they're already bringing a lot to it. And as we grow, we'll start to look at like who should be a moderator, etc. But we've got a rank for everybody. Whether you're brand new and you just want to be a skiller, you can have 0 EHP on your iron, or if you have 2,500 plus EHP, you can be a master. And then there's ranks literally in between. So a lot of opportunity, a lot of varieties welcomed, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next podcast with a larger cast. All right, peace out.
See ya.